Let's start with the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. You've been pretty critical of the U.S. withdrawal, and you've called it botched. In your opinion, what went wrong?
Well, we obviously had a plan that fell apart. I know that Secretary Blinken talks about having prepared for every contingency, but it's pretty clear that we did not have any flexible response to the conditions on the ground, namely the strength of the Afghan National Security Forces, nor the legitimacy or perceptions thereof of the Ghani government based out of Kabul. We were steaming full bore towards the exits. We had a date in mind, but there was no flexibility. All of the understandings of the leverage that we had quickly eroded, and we were unable to shift or adapt that plan as it went along. And that's why you saw those estimates on how long the government and security forces could last, shift from 6 to 9 months after August 31st. That was the estimate in July. To the beginning of August, it was 60 to 90 days after August 31st. And clearly, we didn't even make it to August 15th.
And speaking of Secretary Blinken, as soon as our interview is over, he's about to appear before your House Foreign Affairs Committee for some oversight that's being conducted, led by Chairman Greg Meeks. What questions do you have for Blinken specifically?
Yeah, I have a lot of very specific questions in terms of the continuing evacuation process. Our group, we've been involved in this from a very early stage when it comes to special immigrant visas. We had a bipartisan coalition that came together in April. And so it's incredibly frustrating that what we were warning about, the nightmare scenarios we were begging them to prepare for, did not happen. And as a result, not only did we leave hundreds of American citizens behind, some of whom we've been able to rescue in the days since, but also likely thousands of lawful permanent residents, those are green card holders, and then thousands, if not tens of thousands, of special immigrant visa, either applicants, individuals who are eligible for that, or folks who have already received those visas who work for the U.S. military as interpreters or translators or in other critical and trusted professions. So that is key, that we fulfill the promise that we made to our loyal Afghan allies. But more specifically, we still have planes on the ground in Mazar-e-Sharif. We still have folks who are trying to get out, who are being told by the Taliban the State Department is the blockage. We're being, talking to individuals who are trying to work with the State Department. They're getting routed to an email address that is, kicking them to a website, and then that website's kicking them to the email address. So just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this process.
Do you think Secretary Blinken or anyone else in the administration, Jake Sullivan, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, should resign over the withdrawal?
I think we're still in the midst of this emergency, even though our troops have left Kabul airport, even though we no longer have boots on the ground in Afghanistan. We are still in the process of getting folks out. And so I want there to be full and unsparing accountability. I will be surprised if we still have all those individuals in their roles in 3 months or 6 months time. I'm a little bit surprised that nobody's resigned yet. But when it comes to demanding resignations at this moment, again, we are still in the midst of this emergency, and we need to get through it before we can have that full accountability.